Hello, I apparently am live, which is really quite a feat tonight. Nothing was working, apparently. Um, Let me get some more light on, see if I can get some more light on so I look a little bit less, maybe over here. Hey, mm, let's see. Okay. Well, it's not a Mercury retrograde, so there's no excuse that way. But I certainly had enough problems getting on tonight. Plus, I was late because I was busy watching somebody else's show. Okay, because I'm also a viewer and fan of other people's shows as well as mine. So it happens sometimes, that I, but really tonight was technical difficulty up the wazoo. It was just, um, I don't know what the heck was going on. I had a pre-recorded thing I was going to play, and that I could not get it edited all day. Could not edit the thing all day. I don't know what's going on. It's like, um, so I actually was trying to save myself some trouble and pre-did something so that I could just come in and talk to people. And instead of that, I couldn't get the dang thing edited. And so, wait, let me see. Oh, by the way, you just jumped down. Okay, let me lay you down, knucklehead. That's my little boy, kitty cat, cowboy. Um, I just saw a meme that said, "Behind every great person, there is a cat." This is literally true. On this show, he's usually sitting either right beside me or right behind me while I'm doing the show. So that it's so true. Um, anyway, today I had a request and I thought I would go ahead and do that. And yeah, it was just almost impossible to get the video edited. I will try and get it edited later in the week and put out, but I guess I'll just have to do the same thing live. So sorry about that. It's just the way things are going today. And I realize I have to keep my sense of humor about this because um, there's just been so many things going on with the channel lately. I think I'm getting ready for some kind of a shakeup here. I don't know what's going to happen with it yet. I haven't been told what direction we're going to go yet, but there is going to be some stuff going on with the channel probably. And so we'll see how that goes. Okay. Um, but I got to remind you, like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more of this channel, because otherwise I'm going to probably disappear because honestly, they're doing things to the channel still. We're still not out of the woods with that yet. And a lot of people are complaining that you're lucky to be seen at all. I mean, you're lucky to even have your notifications go out. Uh, some people. So, hey, I'll just sit and do art, but or come up with a different channel idea, but a different thing to do because I got a lot of things I know how to do. But if you so there's been a lot. Some it's weird because some days I get like all this interest, and then other days there's almost nobody here. I don't know what's going on. So don't know. Um, in any event, we'll see if um, it looks like this is not serving its purpose. I'll go do something else. um, because I have a lot of stuff that I do. I mean, um, anyway, not going to go into that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this is temporary or if this is the way it's going to be now because who knows what's going on. Um, we've got tonight. Linda Bennett asked me or made a suggestion to do some tarot lessons. That really what people are wanting is more woo, because in the beginning I was much more woo. In the last couple of years, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen with Sasquatch and other stuff. Uh, I mean, finding out that you've been in touch with Sasquatch your whole life is quite a shock. So, like anybody who gets involved with Sasquatch, all of a sudden you're kind of interested. You kind of go into the subject. And I guess what people were coming around here for was the more mystical stuff, and which we haven't been doing as much of as all these other things. We also had a lot of um, really weird political stuff come up. We had health stuff come up. I mean, health issues come up that needed healing. So we were having to do that. And really, I intend to do that also still if people, as long as people need that or want that. I still have my healing symbols here that I got from um, Brad Johnson's site and some other stuff and some other techniques for healing. So, I may do some shows that are just strictly about how to heal too, and how to find a card deck that suits you. Because I've said a lot of times, if a tarot deck or any card deck, any tool doesn't speak to you, it's probably not for you. Another thing is, I want to preface any card reading, which I'm going to be doing cards tomorrow, free card readings tomorrow, with I can only read what's happening currently on the current timeline. Everybody's that way. If things don't change, it's going to be like this. Any kind of reading you get is changeable. And so there's a lot more to it than just cut and dried. Nothing is really set in stone. If you get a bad reading, you can usually change it. If you get a good reading and you go out and screw around, you can change that too. You have a lot more power in your hands than you know. And so I want to make it very clear. When you get a reading from anybody, you can only count on it to be as things are now. But things are changing so fast now. We're changing between timelines. We're changing between realities. We're heading into a whole nother territory here. So it just gets harder and harder to come up with timelines too. Although I'm saying that it's going to be rock and roll probably by March, we're going to be into it, so prepare yourself in the next month or two. I'd say, yeah, by March, April, May, we're going to be looking at a lot of serious stuff going on. In the end, it's going to be better, but in the meantime, buckle up. It's, you know, do a little bit of prepping just in case your area may or may not be affected by what's going to happen. Um, we'll see. There's no telling. The other thing is, um, I did want to give a tarot lesson tonight and explain a little bit about my relationship with tarot, which has not always been very good. Sometimes it's been very bumpy. Like I said, I did this lovely pre-recorded thing that I can't edit, and I almost didn't get in the studio. Oh my goodness. I almost couldn't make it in the studio. As a matter of fact, I had to switch from my tablet, which is suddenly not holding a charge, to my phone all of a sudden. So, all kinds of things are going on with this channel. But I'm going to do it as long as I can, and as long as there's any kind of interest, even though sometimes this is pretty tricky. Anyway, so I wanted also to say I have not always been a tarot reader. Tarot didn't always speak to me. In fact, for a while, I hated it. It was not the imagery, the Rider-Waite imagery, which is the most common one, did not really appeal to me. It didn't mean a thing to me. And I'll tell you about that a little bit, because like I said, I'm very, my feelings get into it. I have to have some kind of a connection. The cards or any other tool is just a tool. It's just a focus. I want to remind you that the power is within you. When you're reading anything or using anything, you are the power. The object is not the power. Hey, Melissa Nicole, what's up? Hey, I was wondering if anybody was going to show up. It seems like my stream has been doing weird stuff lately. I don't know if people aren't getting my notices or what's going on, but I don't know what's going on. They tell me they're still interested, but I don't know what's going on, man. But whatever. I'm doing my job. We're doing I'm going to talk about my path towards understanding tarot tonight, if you're interested in that, and some other things that led to that. And you did get the notification. Yay! I guess the notes don't go out very well. A lot of times it's very hard to run a small channel sometimes, because people say they don't get them, or they get them very late. I hate to say, for a lot of people that I watch, sorry dudes, I don't get your note until you're over sometimes. I don't get the notification until the show is over. YouTube is being really mean to people lately. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. There's really nothing to do from my end about that either. Okay, Melissa. Yeah, they've been so mean lately. It's like some people are still okay. They're still above water, but um, a lot of channels, like I know I'm not getting my notifications. I only find out, sometimes I don't find out something's happened until the next day. Sometimes I can't even find people's channels. Like I can find their channel, but I can't find the live video that they're doing. It's really weird, man. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to keep putting videos out, and I figure as long as it's being recorded, people can always come back to it later and check it out, that want to check it out. So might as well just keep going. So anyway, thanks for coming, Melissa Nicole. And to go on with this. Well, this is not necessarily a subject for everybody. I mean, tarot's not the tool for everybody. Some people do better with. Oh, some people take some of their videos down after the live is over. Oh, to not lose their channels. Yeah, that happens. I know that happens. To not get in trouble. You mean, yeah. Um, yeah, it's rough. I swear this is just going to drive me to move to Rumble or something. It's going to drive me to move to Rumble. Well, thank you, Melissa. I hope so because I'm still learning really myself. And so I know how complicated it looks because it is complicated. It's very complicated. You but after you do it for years and years, I guess it's like anything else. I really started with another deck. I couldn't do tarot at first. Pardon me. I'm going to do my no, I'll save it. I'll do it for an intermission. My intro. I'm not going to bother since why? Um I started with the animal medicine deck because by Jamie Sams because tarot didn't speak to me. And that was not based on tarot, it was based on Native American stuff, which made perfect sense to me. So I had absolutely no trouble picking that deck up and reading with it because, I loved animals and I felt close to that. And I am Native American on my mother's side. We have Cherokee in the background. My great grandmother was named Emma Whitehorse Ridner, and she had a sister named Chanula. So um, they were Native American. And so I have that on that side. And so I feel closer to the Native American type stuff than to the European Tarot. And you may find that you have some kind of a predisposition like that too. Some people are really more into certain imagery too than the Rider Waite. I mean, Rider Waite is the most common tarot deck, but not necessarily your deck if it doesn't speak to you. And I'll explain what I mean by does it speak to you. Because there's two kinds of tarot readers. There's the tarot readers that are reading the meanings of the cards, which you can do that. Anybody can do that. I mean, the cards will come out in a pattern because they're following the larger patterns of the universe. So they're going to come out in a pattern. And really, once you realize how the universe works and realize that the bigger patterns and the smaller patterns mirror each other, then you understand That's why tarot works. That's why astrology works. That's why any kind of divination works, is a combination of, you can read the smaller patterns by looking at the bigger patterns. You can read the bigger patterns by looking at the smaller patterns, because it's all part of the holofractal matrix. So if you know how to interpret what you're looking at, you can see, what do they say about a hologram? You can see the whole thing by looking at a part of it, at a piece of it. Okay? That's what this really, I think, is. This is my theory. This is my theory of everything, is that since it's all connected, the reason we can read the cards, the reason we can use astrology, which is looking at the macro, the movement of planets, and the cards, which is looking at the micro, is because they're connected. They're all connected. And the cards also have astrological symbols that go with them. So astrology was huge, 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 huge. It was one of the most important things, is because it's has so much to do with um, life to them. I mean, we're talking about. Oh, hang on, I gotta grab something here. I have my cards far away. I don't know why I did. Um, it has something to do with every part of life, and in the old days, I guess it was absolutely integral to know if a drought was coming up, you know, if you were going to be invaded. I mean, it was a scary world. Not that it's not scary sometimes these days. I mean, we're certainly dwelling here in interesting times, aren't we? And if it's a Chinese curse, by golly, we're dealing with it right now. The old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. Well, yes, we are. Although I don't see it as a curse, because I know that we're on the way to something better here. This is not going to last the way it is. I'm looking for the card that spoke to me, by the way, recently, and I'll tell you all about it. And I'm going to show you the cards that I got, that a deck like this might help you. And it's sort of a cheater deck, but it is a starter deck, considered a starter deck. It is based on the typical deck, the weight deck, and what's the? It's just called the Learning Tarot Cards deck. It's purple, and on the one side it says, "Dear past, thanks for the lessons," and on the other side it says, "Dear future, I'm ready." So I thought, oh, these are cool. I really got to have these, because it has keywords, astrology, zodiac, chakras, and the meaning of the cards. So it's got all of the cheat codes right here. And so you don't have to, so you can gradually get used to what cards are attributed with what other symbolism there is too. So it has, here, I can't, I don't know why this is so hard to find. It's probably going to be the very last card in the deck, right? But so basically, there are 4 suites, and or suits. I'm not sure which way that you say that, but they are representative of the elements, and they are also representatives of the section of human life uh, that we all have sections. Um, The cups are emotional, usually, or the flow. The swords, and I have gotten this wrong before, and if I have misled anybody in any other videos, please forgive me, because I'll explain why I get some things confused. Like I said, I didn't always read tarot. I read the animal medicine cards and then later the sacred path cards by the same author because they made more sense because they were Native American based. Tarot didn't come until later on. So here is the temperance card. Okay. Hope you can see that. It's an angel, right? And this angel has a triangle, an upward pointing triangle, has a 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on a rock. And because it's kind of small, so I guess you can't really see it that well. And it's pouring water from one chalice to another. So this angel is doing something. Oh, and there are irises nearby. So this flower represents the goddess Iris as well. So you can also add that into your reading. This also is a card associated with Jupiter. And that's that symbol right there that looks kind of like a curly 4. It's also represented, it also is tied in with Sagittarius, represented by that arrow. Okay, so, and then this chakra, and the chakras are another thing. These chakra symbols are another thing I have not 100% learned, but that looks like it may be solar plexus. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it has a little chakra wheel up here too. So if you were looking for health or where blockages were, you could say it's in this chakra. Yeah, or if you're looking for, some other information, it's here too. Also, if you're asking a yes or no type question, upright, this card would be yes. So what happened was, like I said, there are a couple different kinds of types of way to read cards. And one of them is you just read the meanings of the cards and you start to memorize that, and then you go by that. But when you're really reading them, like I do with my other cards, they speak to you. I use my clairvoyance. I'm not really a tarot reader exactly. I'm a clairvoyant. And that's, and I'm empathic, I kind of feel into things. That's how that's actually happening, not because I'm a tarot reader. It's a focus. All of these things, they call it a focus because when you're getting all of these signals in, you have to separate it all out some way and categorize it and classify it and get it to where you can narrow in on a specific function, message, and so you use a focus. Now, this is always done to help you develop your third eye and your ability to see so that eventually you don't always need a focus. Eventually you get to the point where you can just read clairvoyantly. But the focus helps. And it also helps when you're trying to explain it to other people what's going on, because the imagery helps. Okay, they need something that they can physically look at helps. Okay, so tarot being much more widely known than the other cards, I decided at some point that I needed to really understand tarot better. So if you're here kind of trying to figure out tarot, you're at a good place because we're going to kind of do this together because I'm still learning. But there are some things that I have learned is that all of these cards have a story behind them. And much to my surprise, it was only yesterday that this card, this very card, started talking to me. Now, it's really funny how this happened. I'll tell you the story and then we'll go on a little bit more with the tarot lesson, okay? I make bone broth. I always am making bone broth for myself. It helps me with my conditions. I have several things that I'm working on, making my body better. And so bone broth is a good way to do that, right? But it was too hot. So I was taking another container and pouring the soup back and forth from one container to another, which is what my mom did to cool it off because falling through the air, it cools it off, right? And eventually the uh, the liquid becomes a temperature that you can deal with that won't burn you. And as I'm doing that, the temperance angel showed up to me. This happens to me. Things just kind of show up in my third eye and they show up like they're right in front of me. And it's sort of like an overlay of this world and is standing there right in front of me, doing the same motions that I'm doing. I'm pouring the broth from one cup to the other cup. Why? To cool it off, to make it usable so that it doesn't burn me when I drink it. Guess what? It just kind of gave me this smile, nodded at me, kind of gave me a download like, yeah, that's what I'm about. That's what this card is about. The reason the angel is standing with one foot in the water and one foot on the land is it's balancing. And this angel kind of looks almost like they're balancing, like they're hovering or balancing there and pouring from one chalice into the other chalice is balancing the temperature, is mitigating the temperature so it's not too hot or not too cold. Whichever it is that you're trying to even it out, you're pouring it between the two cups to try and even things out. This card has a lot to do with balance. This card has a lot to do with dealing with opposites. It can mean, okay, it's a hot situation. I'm going to come in and cool it down. Something's going to come in to cool it down. Could be this is too cold. We're going to heat this up. We're going to get this, moving again. Could be, but it's balance. It's very much a card about balance. It's also a card about, since Jupiter is there, there's also Jupiter in astrology is a sense of expansion, the planet of expansion. And so everything that Jupiter entails, which is also money, it's also everything to do with um, growing. It could be that something is growing or expanding. It could be something to do with Sagittarius, which is my sign. Actually, it's kind of interesting that a card that is actually my sign shows up for me first out of the major arcana. Now, the four suits, the major arcana is separate, and they are more important messages, whereas the minor arcana are about more mundane things in life. So some people actually, depending on the kind of reading it is, will read only with the major arcana when they're checking out a very important circumstance. some people do that. There are even some people that when they're checking out something minor, they'll only bother to use the minor ones, although that's very less common. When you use them all together, it'll kind of give you a heads up. Hey, this is not as important. It'll give you a minor card in that spot. It'll mean this is not as important as you thought. This is not a worldwide importance or, major importance. This is only kind of a mundane thing. Okay. So you can kind of tell, is this serious world, otherworldly, or is this a temporal thing, or, so it gives you more information that way too. Another thing about it is, yes, this is a positive card. And so it's considered a positive card. It's like this angel is coming in and saying, I'm going to make things balanced. I'm going to balance things. I'm going to make things come out right. Things are going to come out all right. Even if it looks bad, things are going to come out all right. Okay. It's going to come out in a balanced way. It's not going to be unfair. So it's interesting. Then I look at so we read the meaning. The meaning that's also written on this starter deck of cards is balance, peace, patience, moderation, which is another meaning of temperance, is moderation, all things in moderation, inner calm, perspective, tranquility, harmonious relationships, soulmates, and serenity. And a lot of these also have to do with Jupiter and with Sagittarius. And so it was kind of, and the answer would be yes if I was thinking of something of a question. So there's a lot more. Oh, and the number is 14. And if you're into numerology or gematria, then you can actually even look up the number of the card. So you could do that. And I'll tell you what the reversed is now. I'm not going to go into every reversed meaning right now. We'll do that later. But the reverse, if you read reverses, some people do not read reverse cards. They read all of the cards upright and they don't bother to reverse them. So it's not a necessary thing, but it is used by a lot of people to give more information. It's another layer of information. This card also has a saying on it. It says, I know my extremes. Now I seek peace. So that is a saying with the card. So like I said, this is a great deck to start with. It gives you quite a bit to work with. The imagery in the background is there is a hill and there is a crown up on the mountains in the background. So there's even more to that. And that looks like the sun rising. There's rays coming out of it. So it's like the sun is rising and it will be okay. Very positive. Upside down, imbalance, self-indulgence, excess, clashing, lack of perspective, discord, antagonism, and recklessness. So you can see how reading a reverse can completely change your reading. Not everybody does it, though. Not everybody uses that. Okay. So let's go into a little bit more about the suites. They're swords. Oh, I get these. I swear this has got to be a Mandela effect. I had a first deck where the swords and the wands were reversed, and the swords were about fire and the wands were about air, which to me, in my mind, makes sense because of trees. The air blows through them. And the swords are forged in fire. But no. And I have to stop myself because what is really, I guess now, or what is, I got to tell you, I've been having Mandela effects ever since I died over 35 years ago, nearly 4 decades ago. I had an NDE. And so I've been having Mandela effects even to the death of even to the day that I died. Had my NDE was Mandela affected and changed a couple times. So it's been a real interesting ride, right? My course to shamanism has been real interesting. And okay, so um, I'm not going to say it's been easy at all. It's been very interesting. Let's just put it that way. Many opportunities to learn things. And it always is with shamanism, but shamanism works for me. And it's not a religion, it's a way of operating. Okay. And I just said that in one of my latest videos. So, swords would be air, would be east. And it's funny that they don't have the directions on here. And even the directions don't agree, by the way. Not everybody's medicine wheel. See, in my head, I got a medicine wheel, and I got the one from the Wolf Clan Teaching Lodge. Other people's medicine wheels are going to be different. You may have a different understanding, too. See how personal this becomes. Okay, so for me, swords would be air. Okay, in this deck, they're air. It used to be fire, but I had to relearn. In this Mandela affected world, they're now air. And it's gotten reversed with the staves. The staves are now fire because I guess you use them, you light them, and to give you fire, right? I guess. And so, okay. Now I do notice that they do have in the background of this card, it looks fiery. So that may be their way of adding the element on this card. But then this would be a fire element card, which goes along with Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So this all fits. Okay. So that's going into just one card. So you see how if you're feeling like it's a very complicated subject and you're having a little bit of fun learning it, you're not alone. I mean, you can read from the book and you'll still get a reading out of it. It won't be the same as when the card starts to talk to you. And I'm very excited that this card finally has talked to me, because they weren't talking to me for a while, ever since I can remember. They didn't talk to me. I was reading them just by the meanings. Now I'm developing a relationship with it. So I have a feeling that I'm embarking on something new here myself. So you're going to get the benefit of that too if I keep doing these lessons. Okay, the next suit is usually, but everybody doesn't put them in the same order. The next suit is usually cups. Cups, as I said, has something to do with emotions. Now that's the funny thing about this card. This card shows a lot of water, which means that also this is a fire card. So you're talking about fire, water, and land being involved in the same card, but how is it aspected? And then you've got the irises, which are the goddess Iris, which is the iris of the eye and has to do with seeing, and has to do with color, and has to do with light. So this is sort of a watery fire card, since there's cups on this card, and so it's actually a mixture of things. And if I haven't confused you by now, I'll try a little harder next time. I hope you're not too confused. But cups is usually emotional stuff in the minor arcana. Okay. And the minor arcana, you'll know that because it's the 3 of cups, the 4 of cups, whereas the major arcana all have their own, they're separate. They're not the of anything. Okay. They all have their own number, but actually a lot of them are a mixture of all the elements. Okay. So cups is also the flow. It can be how things flow. Okay, whereas in my medicine wheel, the swords would be spring. The staves would then be in the south, fire. Cups would be in the west, water. And up top would be pinnacles, earth. Pinnacles represent earth, and that's the earth signs. That's all the solid stuff. That's things to do with money, things to do with physical stability, very tangible things. Okay. Fire is energy related. Oh, hello, James Ortiz. I don't know. We'll see. Hope to see you. Okay, so where where was I? That's the thing. I'm going to be doing some pre-recorded stuff so that I don't get confused when I say hi to people coming in, because that's another thing, is I kind of get off track sometimes. That way, if I do pre-recorded stuff, I can just run the main message and then just talk to you all in the chat. So let's see. We're talking about pentacles. Pentacles are solidity, money, trade, etc. However, there are other cards that are going to be about fire and staves. Okay. Yeah, fire and staves. Well, it's interesting that staves, and actually the Queen of Staves does suit me. That's another thing. There are the minor arcana, but in the minor arcana are another classification called the court cards. Now, the court cards usually refer to people, often refer to people, although it can also be a situation depending on what the question is. But they all do have a sign that is associated with them. And so the swords are air signs. So the court cards in the air suite are all the air signs. The court cards in the stave suite is the fire signs. The court cards in the water, the cups, are water signs. The court cards are earth signs in the pentacles. So each of these cards has a sign associated with it, a birth sign. Okay, so basically, for instance, let me find you something here. Let me just find one. Okay, so here is a page. There's a little bit different meaning for a page. Now, this is another little odd thing here. This is a page. This is a page of swords. This page of swords, its sign is Gemini. It's associated with, interestingly enough, I think, I'm not sure. But anyway, what planet that is, but it would have to be Mercury, wouldn't it? Oh. Well, of course, why not? Something is going on with the wiring in my place, so I hope I stay on. Oh no, I hope my phone is charging. Yeah, there's been strange things going on with my, hope I stay on. So it's an air sign. Curiosity, Gemini. Let's see. But the answer would be no with this card. It says delayed news, patience needed, ideas, inspiration, planning, vigilance, protected, guarded, fairness, think before you speak, don't get drawn into arguments, mental agility. There are many clouds and a sky behind this card. It's an air card. The funny thing about pages, okay, when you have a queen or a king, that's an older person. Older person, usually older, more stable. When you have a knight or a page, usually you have a younger person or a softer version. So this is a no card. This would be a soft no because it's a younger card. It's a page, not a knight. Knights come in. Here's another layer. Knights are about change, and so are aces. Ace of any suite is the start of something. Something is starting. Something new is being presented. Something is coming in. It is the ace, the beginning. Okay. In this card, this is a less mature energy or a not as strong. Now, not to be sexist here, although they were when these were made, this could also sometimes symbolize a female instead of a male. And in some decks, it does. It is a female and not a male. Even though, and actually, this one looks a little bit more like that, a little more feminine. But it's obviously a male, but it has some feminine characteristics. Anyway, so the pages can be a softer or less energetic version of, okay, let me find you, for instance. Let's see. Go find you a knight. Here's a knight. Okay, this is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. This would be a stronger yes. Okay. This is a yes, it says. And this is Saturn based. So this is more about holding it. See, Saturn is pulling in, is the inward pull. Jupiter's an outward push. The Knight of Pentacles often is telling you about a change in finances, a situation coming in, having to do with finances, having to do with money or something solid, property, something like that. So that's the way you look at a night. It would be a little bit stronger. If you had a yes or a no, it would be a little stronger if it was a knight than if it was a page. Okay, so you have just maybe a common card, a card. Here's just the, what is it? This is the one. I hate Roman numerals. 7. Okay, the 7 of Pentacles, which is things coming to fruition, hard work, paying off, harvest, rewards, profits, results, payouts, manifestation of ideas or goals, inheritance, cultivation, growing, gestation, and nurturing. All of these things associated with the earth element, right? Money, earth element, work, that kind of thing. And you can see he's leaning there on his farming implements, watching his crop grow. Okay, so he's worked and he's watching something grow. So you can really, and this is one of the cards where you can see what's going on. It's not there yet. It's a yes card. It's a very positive card, but it's a yes about something mundane. Okay, not something huge, galactic, or spiritual. Whereas temperance is more like that. Let's see, let's get another major arcana card. Major arcana cards, for instance, judgment. Judgment, and if you just read it, it says judgment, self-evaluation, awakening, renewal, composure, decisiveness, homesickness, snap judgments, apportioning blame, and forgiveness. All of these things. And this is a yes card. And it also says the daily choices make now align me with my life's purpose. Let me see. The daily choices I make now align me with my life's purpose. Okay. So this is about, can be about, actually it comes up a lot when somebody wakes up, when people are waking up, when you're trying to see if somebody is awake or not, you know. Also, this is some kind of justice coming in, a judgment, a justice coming in. It is not the justice card, but it is a type of justice coming in, a type of, so you know something's going to be looked at and examined. Upside down, it says indecisiveness, self-doubt, malicious gossip, lack of self-awareness, unwillingness to learn karmic lessons. Yeah. Okay. So this has a lot to do with karma too, if karma is coming your way. But it's also, in the judgment, there can also be forgiveness. And it can also be snap judgments, like maybe you're making a very quick decision when you should be thinking about it more. But now this is where your intuition comes in. As I said, you are the power behind this. Your intuition helps guide you to which one of these messages is right for the question. Oh, I am really teaching you some stuff. Okay. Oh, court cards are extra hard for you to read. Okay. Yeah, they're different. Okay. So just remember knights are at change usually. They're coming galloping in, making a change. Okay. The pages are usually messengers. That's what a page often did, messenger. The king and queen are usually male and female of the sweets element. Okay. So, like I said, the wands are the fire signs, and the cups are the water signs, the earth signs are the pentacles, the swords are the air signs. So all the airheads carry swords. Isn't that scary? I'm kidding. Okay. I'm really teaching you some stuff. I'm so glad. This isn't it. This isn't in vain then. Okay, here's a card that should be pretty self-explanatory. Ouch. This is the Three of Swords. Emotional damage. Severe emotional damage usually. Ow. This hurts my heart. Heartbreak, you know. It stabs me in the heart. That's what this is about. Very self-explanatory. And it's Saturn. I think that's Saturn. And I'm not going to try. I'm not good at this. I'm not going to know what the signs look like, but it does have the sign on it. I got to get better at that because I do know about astrology, but what the symbols are for the signs, I don't have them all memorized yet. But it would be an earth sign. No, I'm sorry. It would be an air sign. It would be an air sign. Okay. And the answer would definitely be no. Okay. So if somebody's asking, does he love me? No, he's going to freaking break your heart. Okay. This would be no. He's going to break your heart. It's going to hurt. Don't fall for it. That kind of thing, which she'll get asked stuff like that quite a bit. Believe me. I mean, one of the most common kind of readings is among younger people is, does he love me? When will he propose? Mm-hmm. You know, because that's what's on their mind, dating and, you know, marriage. And, you know, that's what, you know. So you get asked that a lot. So you better get used to this. Yeah. And it is heartbreak, betrayal, loneliness, removal, absence, division, depression, separation, sadness, heartache, unhappiness, upheaval, grief, sorrow, upset, disorder, confusion, and alienation. All of those things you really don't want. And pain. Oh, one of the keywords on here is pain. They do have a keyword here that says pain. And I have known this to come up when somebody is literally, if it's in a health related reading, I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose or treat anything. But if people are having problems, it could be the heart. Upside down is, of course, releasing pain, overcoming depression, optimism, and forgiveness. So if it's upside down, the swords are starting to fall out of their place, and you're going to start to heal up. So it's not always a negative card, depending on, we'll get on how it's aspected by other cards later on. That's another layer, because no matter what the card means, the cards around it are going to influence it, just like you and your peer group. The cards that it's hanging around with are going to influence the meaning of this card. Okay. So this one, oh, what's another one that's very controversial? Let's see. Oh, let me get you an ace. Okay. Oh, now this one's a very happy card. If you see this come up, Ace of Pentacles. Money! Money coming in! Yay, a money situation, the incoming of a money situation. See how the hand is holding up this coin. Okay. So financial new beginning, new financial opportunities, new job, new business, money, investment, savings, prosperity, security, stability, abundance, manifestation. And of course, with all that positive stuff, it's a yes. But upside down, it's lack of money, poor financial control, lack of opportunities or lost opportunities. The keywords are potential for abundance. So this card, right side up and dignified, is great. You really want to see it in a reading, okay? But still, it's not an important spiritual matter or anything, or shaking, world shaking thing. It's your personal finances, okay? Because it's only a minor arcana. Okay, let's get to, let me give you another kind of example here. Oh, this one looks really bad, and it isn't happy. Ten of Swords. Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. This guy has got swords all in his back. Backstabbing, betrayal, enemies, bitching, bad mouthing, bitterness, doormat, failure, ruin, collapse, breakdown, exhaustion, inability to cope, curses, rock bottom, endings, and defeat. And no. And if you are asking about something and you're only doing a one card reading and this comes up, oh no, don't invest in that. That's only going to hurt you. Or is he betraying me? Yes, he certainly is. Oh, yes, he certainly is. Yes, he is. Or she is. Yep. Even though the card says no, the message is, oh, yes, they are. Okay. That's another confusing thing. Otherwise, it would just be no. If you're doing a one card reading and somebody's just, yes or no, no. Something you don't want, kind of easy to get, But upside down, it's escaping ruin and pulling yourself together and learning from past hardships. So let me get you some of the royalty here. King of Swords. Let's look at the King of Swords. And he has that little symbol that looks like, I believe, is that Pluto or some Uranus? I don't know. But it's the one that looks like the Enterprise. I never remember which one. Like I said, I'm not that good at the astrological, so knowing them by symbols. But the answer would be yes, if it's upright, especially. And remember, he's a mental guy. So this guy, since he's king of the mental realm, he's gonna be Mr. Spock, okay? Basically, it's kind of funny with the Enterprise there looking thing. This guy's gonna be kind of like Mr. Spock. He's gonna be like a little tick-tock. I'm thinking, probably a Libra or something. But he's going to be one of the air signs, and he's going to be, let's see, the words are structure, routine, intelligent, rational, logical, power, authority, strength, manners, conversation, discerning, detached, cool, honesty, integrity, ethics, morals, clinical, and stern. So this guy is, the answer is yes. But if you're asking, does he love me? Well, he might, but he's not going to be necessarily the type to show it too much because he's too rational and logical and all of that. So this may not be, if you're looking for somebody cuddly, this may not be the one you're looking for. Or he might, depending on how he's aspected. What friends is he hanging around in the reading? Oh, yeah, that's another layer. We're not going to go there yet. It's a little too much. But upside down, he's a jerk. Lack of structure or routine. Intelligence used in a bad way, like some of the millionaires, like Phil Bates. That's my code name for somebody who is intelligent but bad. Irrational, illogical. Um, it can also be somebody who's kind of a jerk. I mean, upside down, all of the court cards are people who are kind of jerks. So if you see the court cards upside down and you're looking into a person, it's like either they're jerks or they're not doing very well. You know, they're need work. Let's put it that way. If some little page is upside down, it could just be that I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm totally lost. You know. But if it's a king upside down, it's usually more, or a queen, it's usually more serious. So, and this is about the truth. So, see, this guy is going to tell you the truth if it hurts you. If he comes up in a reading and you're asking about the truth, that could be exactly what he means. Truth. It could hurt, depending on who it comes in with. You know, here's what this card, interesting one. They call this one the thief, and he is the Seven of Swords. He's a good one to look out for. If you get the Seven of Swords, somebody is thinking of some kind of shenanigans. They're thinking about taking something. They're thinking about getting away with something. See how he's sneaking away? Grabbing some swords and sneaking off? Deceit, lies, trickery, cheating, theft, underhand scheming, dangerous, risky behavior, enemy masquerading as a friend, spying, lack of conscience, strategy, and resourceful. And the answer is maybe kind of untrustworthy. The little code word appears, making a break for it. And the moon appear. The interesting thing about the moon is, and when we get to the moon card, when we get to the different major arcana, we'll talk about some of this. The thing about the moon is it's changeable. It's very mutable. So that's another aspect of this. Water is very changeable, you know, but the moon changes phases. So the moon is very changeable. Upside down, he's confessing, coming clean, turning over a new leaf, conscience kicks in. So he's somebody who's done something upside down. He's done something, but he's thinking better of it. It's a very important card to know. Okay. Let me see. Some that's very handy to know right off that you can go, oh, right off. Let's see. Oh, yes. The Aries card, the Emperor. Yeah. An older king sitting on a throne, but he's an emperor, not a king, really. He's an emperor. A fire sign, mental realm. Remember, if there's fire, well, wait, no. I almost did it again. See how? I've almost got the old Mandela residue in there again. No, no, no. This is energy. This is associated with movement and energy. It's fire. Okay. Almost got me again. I have to be careful. Stability, structure, protection, authority, control, practicality, focus, discipline, logical, practical, and older man, stability, dependability, fatherhood, and father figure. Okay. Or if he comes up in a reading and you're asking about somebody, and you're a woman maybe asking about somebody, well, the guy you're asking about is as an older guy and probably a father, or somebody who's like a father or a boss, or he's like a CEO, something like that, and probably an Aries. I am my own authority. I have the will and the power to create my own life's structure. A very powerful man. So that's the way you have to look at it. Here's one that's misunderstood too: the Fool. The Fool is zero. There is actually a card zero. Mr. Zero here is setting off on a journey and about to step off what looks like a cliff. Looks like he's going to go walking right off a cliff if he's not careful. But he doesn't have a care in the world. He gives 0 Fs, right? This person gives 0 Fs. They're like a newborn babe. They're going to set off on their journey with just trust, with just trusting whatever happens. And the little dog is like, they're going, hey, you're kind of close to the edge there. And he's like, I don't care. I'll fly then. Maybe I'll learn to fly. It's actually a very positive card. The sun is shining behind them. Although you see what may be snowy mountains, or it may be water in the background, a tidal wave coming, you can't really tell. And I'm not sure you're supposed to be able to tell. But the Fool is on what looks like shaky ground, and yet he is fine with that and having no problems. So, and the answer, of course, is maybe, if you get this. It's innocence, freedom, originality, adventure, travel, foolishness. It can be foolishness, carelessness, idealism, youth, spontaneity, lack of commitment, and new beginnings, which is a very mixed bag of stuff, right? Once again, you need to use your intuition. Hey, Skyfalls. No, I'm not. I'm doing a lesson. Tomorrow's the reading, sweetheart. I'm doing readings tomorrow. Linda asked me to give tarot lessons, and then she didn't show. So I don't know what's going on. Did you get your note? Or did you just know I was on? See, I don't know. I never know anymore what's happening. But yeah, if you come in tomorrow, I'll definitely get a card out for you for sure. You can always get a card. Recklessness, fearlessness, and risk is the upside down. So, what is it in the upside down? Okay, so let's see, what's another one? I'm kind of trying to find some of the ones that get misinterpreted. I am trying to find the devil card here because a lot of times it's really misinterpreted. It's a very scary looking card, and it can be very scary energy, but not always. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah, got to talk about this one. This one is the Nine of Swords. And it's the I can't sleep. It's the insomnia card. If you have insomnia, this is probably going to come up. This is the I got too many things on my mind. You see all those swords up above him here? Feels like he's got all these swords hanging above his head. He can't sleep. Fear, anxiety, terror, negativity, deep unhappiness, stress, burden, overwhelmed at the breaking point, inability to cope or face life, mental anguish, guilt, regret and remorse, anxiety. Right. So, and the answer would be no, of course, if it's a one card reading. Light at the end of the tunnel, though, upside down, recovering, improving negativity and stress. It's a card you'd want to see if you wanted to know if somebody was going to recover. Then seeing this upside down would be yes instead of no. See, this is what I mean by it's complicated. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, that's okay. I mean, there's a lot to consider when you're reading the cards. It's really complicated. They've made a very complex system, and you can start at whatever level you're at, of course. I mean, it's not like you have to know all this at once, especially if you get one of these cheater decks. It's nice to get a cheater deck. If you don't know what you're doing, I really recommend this is actually a pretty good deck. I've got to say, as far as decks go, it wasn't that expensive. You might, if you're trying to learn, this is probably a good way. This is the wish card. It is the 9. It's another 9. Now, 9s we're just about at the end. We're coming into fruition, okay? Then 10 is the end of one cycle, the beginning of another. And then the beginning, the real beginning, is an ace. At 10, you've done it. You've reached it. You've got there. At 9, you're just about there. You're starting to complete. It's one of the completions. And it's God, I know that's the sign for Jupiter, which is expansion. And yes, okay. So the answer would be yes. And it's wishes coming true. This is the wish card. Wishes coming true, realizing dreams, happiness, cheerfulness, joy, fulfillment, positivity, optimism, satisfaction, success, abundance, prosperity, achievements, rewards, and confidence. And fulfillment. So it's a good one to see come up in a deck. I mean, in a reading, and it's also a good one to remember because if you see this, it's very positive. So, but upside down, it's shattered dreams, nightmares, unhappiness, devastation, misery, and lack of fulfillment. You really don't want to see this upside down. But once again, it's only, once again, it's in the mundane phase of life. It's not in your deeper stuff. So it's a physical disappointment in the physical world usually. Well, but because it's cups, it would be emotional, but it wouldn't be like, oh no, you know, bigger, bigger things. This card of travel is interesting. Travel and messages coming in. We've got all these staves coming in, sort of like spears coming in. Message for you, sire, or maybe arrows, right? It's a messenger card. You see this come up, pay attention to your messages. There's something important there. And it's also things happening very fast. So I'm not going to go into every single card right now, but you can see that some of these, you can tell at a glance, something's up, right? As I look at it, I'm going to be doing card readings tomorrow. As usual, we're going to be starting at 10 o'clock or thereabouts, about 5 after 10. And I will be putting people on a list. I would like to say that. If you're coming in for a tarot reading, the rules are we take people in the order in which they come. I will write you down on a list, and then you must wait your turn. And so if you come halfway through running in here, you may or may not get read for a while. Then again, you might. If I've read everybody up and there's nobody else and you come in, you might get read. But now if we got you written down and you're not around, we might skip you. Yeah, that's another thing to bear in mind. Or I may read you if I think you might be here, and if you come to me and say I need my reading, I'm going to say replay, run it back, because I'm not going to do a reading all over again. So just so you know, and there's nothing against you, it's just we got other people to read and we got to get through this, and I can't be here all night doing that. And I'm not going to be here all night doing that. You're going to get a reading, and then we're going to go on and let somebody else have their turn too. So don't be mad. This is, you're going to get your fair turn. Everybody's going to get a turn. You're not going to be, if you're on the list, once I say you're on the list, we're going to make sure you get your turn. Okay. So, but then if you take off, then don't come back. I may see that you're not around. I'll say, hey, are you still here? Hey, you still here, so and so? You still here, Sky Falls? Or whatever, Project Sky Falls, or are you still here, Melissa? And if I don't hear within a few minutes of talking to people, if I don't hear within a minute or two, yeah, I'm here. If you don't type that, I'm going to assume that you're not listening. And it kind of has to be that way because some nights we have a ton of people. I mean, we may have 20, 30, 40 people getting a reading, and we got to get through them in only a couple hours. The other thing is, I only do the first 2 hours. After 2 hours, after I've been on reading for 2 hours, that's it. Okay, I'm not reading any more personal readings. It takes too much energy. So those are the rules. You're welcome to come in, get a free reading. We do free readings around the full and the new on a moon day, around the full and the new moons on the closest moon day. And that will be tomorrow. So tomorrow you are welcome to a free reading. It'll be one card. It'll be this deck. You will get an explanation, a full explanation of what the card means. If you have a yes or no, they say yes or no. It's going to be real easy. So, and then we'll tell you a little bit more about it. And I'll tell you anything I get clairvoyantly on it. And that's the way we're going to deal with that. So that's, unless you've got some questions, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have no questions, after a few minutes, I'm going to assume that you have no questions if I don't see any questions pop up, even though I know that this chat sometimes does funny things and freezes. I'm going to assume that you have no questions. And, okay. So I'm not seeing anybody say any questions. Okay, good. Hope that was interesting. Hope that helps. And Melissa says, yes. Teach me spreads. Yes, I will. Of course I will. Oh, yes, of course. That's another layer. Another layer. I will go into that. And I was planning on going a little bit into spreads. The spreads are the positioning of the cards so that you know what the heck you're talking about. It's just a way to know which aspect or area the card is talking about. Is it talking about you? Is it talking about the person you're asking about? Is it talking about the situation? Is it talking about, you know, what's it talking about? Is it things you're worried about? You know, there's always a position, though, where it's advice. Okay. There's several different positions. There's the querent card that very basic. The most basic of readings usually is a querent card. And well, actually, one of the most basic reading is a simple yes, no, one card reading. And basically, that's just yes or no. And it may tell you a little bit more by what the card is. But there is, yes, a yes, no to these cards. So, yes, we can do that. As far as time, it's hard. Sometimes they give us an indication of time. But for instance, if you get a 3, it could be 3 anything. Could be 3 days, could be 3 months, could be 3 years. You almost have to look at the other cards and do your best guess. Remember, time in the other realms does not function like it does here. Time's actually illusionary. And so some people are better at time than others at timing things. I'm not particularly good with timing at all. I mean, time at all. I can't even remember what year I got married or divorced. I have a hard time remembering what year I died and returned and revived. I think it was 86. It was whatever year the first space shuttle that blew up that day. That's when I died. That's all anybody could talk about. To heck with you. The fact that you had an experience, a transcendent experience where you died, to heck with you. Did you know the space shuttle blew up? So the spreads, another very commonly used one is past, present, future, which is just what it sounds like. You put out 3 cards and you read them from left to right. Past, present, future. Just like it sounds. First one is the past, what the situation is leading up to. The middle one is the current situation. The third one is what is going to happen if things continue on in this way. If you change things, that can change, though. Once again, things are mutable. There aren't very many things that can't be changed or mitigated or made a little better or even a little worse by what your choices are. So always bear that in mind when you get a reading. Now, things that are coming in clairvoyantly along with that reading. Some things I will tell you right now, you made a contract for it to happen. You made an agreement for it to happen. Some things you're going to have some version of it come up. But remember that you can break contracts too. Contracts can be broken. So if it's something you no longer decide that you want to experience, you don't want to experience, you can break the contract and say no and go an entirely different way and have something different happen. But, well, we'll go in more into that kind of thing in another show. But the spreads are just definitely, if you don't have a spread, it's very hard to know what it's talking, which thing it's talking about. That's what the spreads are. And there are many, 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 and they have different uses and they're more useful. Some are more useful if you're asking a Some are more useful if you're asking a business question. Some are more useful if you're asking a love question. Some are more useful if it's just general. I mean, usually Celtic Cross is used as just a general reading because it'll tell you about all different aspects of life. Another good one, just to tell you about all the different areas of your life that I use, is called the medicine wheel reading, which is a nice layout to just get an overall view. And it's interesting because that one I can like use my hand like an antenna and hold it out and start seeing things around you in a wheel and tell you what they mean. I got so good at that one that I could do that one entirely clairvoyantly. Okay. So that's an hour and 35 minutes. Is there anything else? I don't see anything else. Okay. So, calling it quits for the night. I've got a video to edit. If I can find an editor I like, I had a wonderful video editor. I'm mourning my video editor. I cannot get it on the phone I have. I can't get it on the tablet I have. I had a wonderful editor. I could edit like a god. But now, yeah, I don't know. Trying to edit videos is driving me crazy right now. I've got to get a handle on this somehow or other. I'll see what I can do about that because really I want to start having more time to actually chat with you, more time to actually have some back and forth with the people that come in. So, and not just me talking. Okay. And so, as I always say, and I want to talk, I do want to, and maybe I'll just make a video about it, about the balloons. Yeah, I think I'll just make a short video, what I think about the balloons that happened recently over in our skies. And yes, there was more than one. Is the intel on that is there was actually maybe 5 or 6. What was all that about? I think I know. I may do a reading on that and see if it confirms what I suspect is going on with the balloons. With that, I'm going to say the truth is where you find it. I hope you find some on this channel. At least I do try. And some people say the truth is out there, but really the truth is usually right in front of you, right in you. Actually, it's in you. But usually it's right in front of your face. And a lot of times it's just in disguise. I find that a lot. Everything exists somewhere. Okay. Tell people you love them. A lot of people are leaving. Some of those people leaving may be us. We're going somewhere too, you know. Some of us are leaving the old earth paradigm. And so maybe to those that we leave behind, we may be looking like we left. Think about it that way. Maybe you look like you're going to look like you left them. So think about it that way. Because if you're no longer available in that energy or in that octave, in that frequency, then it's going to look like you left. Okay. And one day we'll talk about your alternative selves and how to find them and how to deal with them, how to use them, looking at your alternative selves. Okay. Ah, yes. Now I must remind you, you are divine. Every show I say this. You are divine. You are creators. You have a spark of God that makes you divine. You can't be any more or less divine. You just are divine. And that's all. Okay? You have a wonderful evening. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow night for a reading. Till next time. Oh, wait. I think I'll go out on my, let me see. I will go out on this because I forgot to play this. I worked very hard on this, so I'm doggone, I'm going to play this.